morning, students. We'll be starting with the p block elements plot. In the previous video, if you observed, I had explained the oxides of nitrogen. Now next, the same concept of oxides of nitrogen, just to go through it so that you get an idea what are the different oxides what I discussed. So nitrogen along with oxygen forms a variety of oxides what we discuss. Just see the slide. I'm explaining some of the preparation methods so you know how to remember that also. First one, people, we have, that's what we have as over here as if you observe, 1 minute. Okay, we have N2O where oxidation state of nitrogen is +1. Now here, how is the method of preparation, people? That's from ammonium nitrate. Ammonium nitrate was mainly used in the firecrackers and all. It's a detonating agent. So ammonium nitrate, when we heat it strongly, people, we get N2O. That's what we call as laughing gas. Is this clear? A gas which produces a person laughs generally. So basically it's a hysteria gas what we call. And it's a neutral oxide. It's a colorless gas and it's a neutral oxide. I have discussed what's a neutral oxide. Oxide that combines with which combines neither with acids nor bases. Okay, that's called a neutral oxide. Then we have NO, that's what we call as nitrogen monoxide, when nitrogen oxidation state is +2. Here it is prepared from NaNO2, that is sodium nitrite. Alright, we'll be doing an organic reaction of NaNO2. Is this clear? So NaNO2 and HCl reaction, that's diazotization. So sodium nitrite with ferrous sulfate in an acidic medium. Ferrous gets oxidized to ferric, and we have sodium hydrogen sulfate, and along with water we have nitrogen which gets reduced to NO, that's called nitric oxide. So sodium nitrite, NaNO2 with ferrous sulfate in an acidic medium. The ferrous sulfate is oxidized to ferric sulfate and NaNO2 is reduced to NO, that's nitric oxide. That also is a colorless gas and it's again a neutral oxide where the oxidation state of nitrogen is +2. Then comes N2O3, that's dinitrogen trioxide when nitrogen state is +3. This is when you react NO along with N2O4. N2O4 is 2 moles of NO2 combining to form a dimer. If you remember in the previous video I had shown the structure. N2O4 dinitrogen tetroxide, that's a dimer of NO2. So when NO combines with N2O4 we get N2O3. That's a blue colored solid and it is an acidic oxide. Acidic oxide reacting with water to give an acid, or with a base it will give salt and water. Then we have nitrogen dioxide, that's NO2 when nitrogen oxidation state is +4. This is lead nitrate where lead is in +2 because lead, if you remember, group 14 element, inert perfect, more stability in +2 state rather than +4 state. So lead in +2 is more stable. So lead nitrate, when you heat it at a high temperature of 673 Kelvin, that gives nitrogen dioxide and PbO. So lead nitrate is over there converted to PbO and we get NO2 gas, which is a brown gas, which is an acidic gas. Now the brown gas, technically, if you remember, I told you NO2, the brown color is because it reacts with the aerosols, that is the liquid aerosol as well as the solid aerosols, and it forms smog. Smog, a colloidal solution of smoke and fog, that way. Okay, smoke was basically solid in gas and fog was liquid in gas. So combining together with that, it forms a brown gas, that's NO2. Then we have dinitrogen tetroxide. I told you that's a dimer when nitrogen oxidation state is nothing but +4, where here it's basically a dimer. So 2 moles of NO2 dimerization gives you N2O4. That's the part. And this is also an acidic oxide. And the last one we have N2O5, that's +5. That's dinitrogen pentoxide when nitrogen is in +5 state. This is when HNO3 combines with P4O10. If you remember chemical bonding, we have discussed what is P4O10. It is tetraphosphorus decoxide. If anybody remembers, POP, the bonds over there, and everywhere phosphorus is in +5 state. Okay, so if you remember POP in the form of a, what we can have is nothing but as a, what I can call in a form of a kite part over there, and every phosphorus over there will have a double bond over there, and we will have the POP bonds over there. There are no PP bonds, it's only the PO bonds what we have. So P double bond O, that will be 4, and POP bonds is what we have. That's tetraphosphorus decoxide. That's also when it combines with nitric acid it forms N2O5, which is also an acidic oxide. So that's the part over there what we have, that is N2O5. Then moving on to the next people. Now next part is, this is about the resonating structures and the Lewis structure. This we discussed everything people, all in the previous one, all of them. Just most important over here, that is the sum of the structures are put up over there, like N2O, that's a linear structure. Then N2O3, that's a planar structure. Then NO2, that's angular. N2O4 is also planar, and N2O5 is also a planar structure. Let's understand over here, people, what is few in-text questions are there with respect to the NCERT. Why does NO2 dimerize? People, very simple, the reason for it to dimerize, NO2 has got one unpaired electron on nitrogen. So as there is one unpaired electron, when the two NO2 will combine, there's a formation of a NN bond. That's what it says. So that's why it can form. So NO2, because of the unpaired electron, is paramagnetic. But N2O4, it forms a dimer, it becomes diamagnetic. So NO2 contains odd number of electrons, people. So as there are odd number of electrons, and on dimerization, it has even number of electrons. That's diamagnetism. People, next question, good. This is where people generally make mistakes. Easy, but understand. What is the covalence of nitrogen in N2O5? First thing what comes in mind, nitrogen should be +5. That's wrong. Covalence is maximum bonds it can form. We all know covalence depends upon what? Number of orbitals available. And how many orbitals are available? Only 4. 1 of the 2s, 3 of the 2p. So maximum covalence of nitrogen in N2O5 is 4. It's not valency or oxidation state. It's the maximum bonds it can form, which depends on the orbitals in its outermost shell. Okay. So outermost shell, there is 2s and 2p. So 2s ka 1, 2p ka 3. So 4 orbitals. So maximum covalence is 4. That's one. Then moving on, next people, now I want to talk about nothing but what we have as nitrogen over there. Now with respect to the nitrogen part, when I am talking, okay, now see this carefully. Okay, nitric acid, one of the important compounds with respect to nitrogen. We have to see its method of preparation, we will see its resonating structures and the properties. Just see there please. People, it forms a number of oxy acids. We all know what's an oxo acid. Oxo acids is basically oxygen containing acids, like hyponitrous acid, nitrous acid, that's HNO2, as well as it forms HNO3. Acha, about nitrous, nitric, we all know nitrous, lower oxidation state, nitrogen oxidation state is +3, and HNO3, nitrogen oxidation state is +5. So lower is us, higher is ek. Now in the laboratory people, preparation, NaNO3, that is sodium nitrate, reacts with sulfuric acid, then it forms sodium hydrogen sulfate and it gives HNO3. That's one. And large scale preparation people, that's with Ostwald's process. Mark this important. People on a paper, please write down. Acha, one more thing. Whatever oxides we did in the previous lecture, please practice them once or twice. Once you practice it, it's done then. Then you will never forget it, because at MCQs as well as with respect to the boards, if there is a question on it, you'll be able to handle it very easily. Okay. So now Ostwald's process, that's an important one. What does it say in Ostwald's process? It's prepared by atmospheric oxidation. So here it says catalytic oxidation of ammonia by atmospheric oxygen. So here in this case, if you see, it's ammonia with oxygen in the presence of platinum, or RH is rhodium gauge catalyst. That's a temperature of 500 Kelvin and a pressure of around 9 bar. Then it forms, first it forms NO and it gives steam. NO is nitric oxide. That nitric oxide burns again with oxygen. NO gets converted to NO2. So first part people, what happens with atmospheric oxygen, ammonia in the presence of platinum or rhodium catalyst at a temperature and a high pressure gets converted to, first it's converted to NO, nitric oxide. That nitric oxide burns with oxygen again to form nitrogen dioxide, and this nitrogen dioxide, when dissolved in water, then it gives you nitric acid. So the NO2 with water gives you back nitric acid, it forms NO. Now this NO can again be used to convert NO. NO, if it further reacts with water, will form again NO2, and that NO2 with water will again give you HNO3. So we can use up this NO also. Okay, so process is easy. Once again, ammonia on catalytic oxidation with atmospheric air with platinum catalyst or rhodium catalyst at high temperature pressure. First it's going to form over there NO. That NO with atmospheric oxygen forms NO2, nitrogen dioxide, and that nitrogen dioxide again with water will give us nitric acid. The byproduct is NO, which can again be converted back into NO2, and then again NO2 can be reacted with water to give you back nitric acid. Yeah. So it says it can be recycled, and the distillation gives a concentration of around 68% by mass. What is 68% by mass? Weight by volume. 68 grams would be the concentration. 68, this will be basically by mass. So 68 grams is the concentration per 100 grams of solution. That's 68%. And a specific gravity of 1.504. Specific gravity is similar to what we can call as relative density. So we have over here basically the weight of a particular compound, or a weight or a density of a compound upon density of a known substance. Alright, so specific gravity of 1.5 with respect to water. That's one. Then next we have nitric acid, the structure, it's a planar structure. Now how to draw the structure of HNO3, people, that no need to explain. Now with Lewis you can do. Just see here, I have explained both the Lewis structures. If you see carefully, we have the Lewis cross dot structures to understand. Observe this structure 1, and we have this structure 2, where if you observe in the first case, again oxygen, if whenever there's a double bond, I told you, then this is going to have 2 lone pairs. That's what you rightly see, the 2 lone pairs. And there's a single bond, then this will have 3 lone pairs. So 1, 2, as well as a third one, what you rightly see. Okay. Now the resonance will happen, double will become single, single will become double there. So that's what it is. So when it's double bond, oxygen has 2 lone pairs, single bond 3 lone pairs. That's what you rightly see. Here there are 2, and then over here it becomes single bond, so it becomes 6 over there. Clear everybody? That's one. That's the resonating structure with respect to nitric acid. That's one. Then second part we have now to discuss over there. That's the next part now, the properties. Now property, people, over there, it's an acid. It's one of the strong mineral acids we have done in ionic, nitric, sulfuric, HCl. So with water it releases H plus ions, which are never freely available. That was a drawback of Arrhenius theory. They exist as H3O plus hydronium ions. If anybody remembers, oxygen with 3 bonds of hydrogen and having a plus charge over there. Alright, because oxygen is donating one of its lone pair. So in regular water, once again with respect to MCQ, a question. Regular water, sp3 hybridized, distorted tetrahedral. That's an angular or an inverted V-shaped geometry, right? Because in water there are 2 lone pairs. H3O plus, over there we will say 1 lone pair will be donated. So if 1 lone pair is donated, then there will be, again it's sp3 only, but with 1 lone pair. Okay, that's one. So here it says it forms H3O plus. Okay, then the next we have, people, few reactions to understand with respect to nitric acid. People, nitric acid, we all know it's a good oxidizing agent, liberates nascent oxygen, and it says it attacks all metals except the noble metals. I've told you what's the meaning of the word noble. Noble means they have low chemical reactivity. That's why we call them as noble. And it says the product will depend on the concentration of the acid. So this word is very important, the concentration of the acid. So please look here. No need to remember the balancing, just know what the product it forms. That's easier. So copper, if it is with dilute HNO3, copper gets oxidized to copper nitrate, and HNO3 gets reduced to NO, nitric oxide. So just know who's oxidized, who's reduced. So copper with dilute HNO3, copper gets oxidized to copper nitrate, and HNO3 gets reduced to NO. Let's see oxidation state. Copper to copper nitrate, 0 to plus 2. HNO3, nitrogen is plus 5. In NO it becomes plus 2. So plus 5 to plus 2. Same way, second one we have over there, that's nothing but what we can put in terms of, as I see over here, like say concentrated. Now same copper reacts with concentrated HNO3. Now with conc HNO3, people, copper again gets oxidized to copper nitrate, so 0 to plus 2. Nitric acid is reduced to NO2. So nitrogen from plus 5 becomes plus 4. So with dilute HNO3, we had over there copper to copper nitrate, and nitrogen from plus 5 got reduced to NO, nitric oxide, the way it became plus 2. And here with concentrated HNO3, copper got oxidized to copper nitrate, same. HNO3 nitrogen plus 5 became NO2, it became plus 4. Same way with zinc now. With zinc, the reaction, people, if you observe over here, zinc with dilute nitric acid, if you observe, okay, then with dilute HNO3, it formed N2O. That's laughing gas. So zinc from 0 to plus 2, zinc to zinc nitrate, so 0 to plus 2, because zinc has only one state plus 2, and HNO3 nitrogen was plus 5, it became N2O, it became plus 1. So plus 5 to plus 1, that's one. And second part, people, to talk over here, that we have, if I have to say, concentrated HNO3. So same zinc reacts with concentrated nitric acid. Zinc is oxidized to zinc nitrate, HNO3 is reduced to NO2. NO2, again nitrogen becomes plus 4. Okay, so with both copper and zinc with conc HNO3, both are oxidized to their plus 2 and reduced to NO2. With copper with dilute HNO3, it forms NO, and zinc with dilute HNO3 forms N2O. That's nitrous oxide. Then some metals, chromium, aluminum, does not dissolve in nitric acid because they form a passive film. If anybody remembers, oxide layer is observed. Aluminum forms a layer of alumina. Same way chromium forms a layer of chromium oxide. That's what we see on steel. The shine on our steel vessels is because of the formation of layer of chromium oxide. Now nitric acid, people, that's a good oxidizing agent. So oxidizing agent will undergo reduction. So its oxidation state will decrease and it oxidizes other substances. Now what does it oxidize and what are the substances it will oxidize? That is what we have to see. So see here, with iodine when it reacts, so iodine is oxidized to HiO3. That's called iodic acid, where iodine oxidation state is plus 5. If you remember, halogens, we did an oxidation state. Only F has an oxidation state of -1. Cl, Bri, apart from -1, they show positive states of +1, +3, +5 and +7. In fact, Br, bromine in some oxides also shows +4 and +6. And what is the reason for that? Cl, Bri, they have availability of vacant orbitals. That's why it's possible. F doesn't have no vacant orbital, so that's why only one oxidation state, -1 only. So here iodine from 0 to +5 and HNO3, nitrogen was +5, it becomes NO2 when nitrogen is +4. So I want you to write the states, so please specify that way. Iodine to HiO3, that is 0 to +5, that's iodic acid, it is iodine is +5, and HNO3 is reduced to NO2, so +5 becomes +4. Same way with carbon. Carbon with HNO3, carbon is oxidized to carbon dioxide and HNO3 is reduced to NO2. So C2CO2, so 0 to +4 and HNO3 nitrogen +5 to NO2, nitrogen becomes +4, so +5 to +4. Same way sulfur reacts with concentrated HNO3. Don't bother with the balancing much, okay? We need to know what it forms in case if they're asking. They're not going to ask you the stoichiometric coefficients there. So sulfur S8, that's a crown shape. Remember, no? Crown shape or a puckered ring structure. That's S8. So S8 with conc HNO3, sulfur is oxidized to sulfuric acid. So that is 0 to +6. And HNO3 is reduced to NO2 when nitrogen is again +5 to +4. Okay. Last one, phosphorus. That's a tetraatomic structure. 4 atoms of phosphorus. So here phosphorus is oxidized to H3PO4 where phosphorus is +5. So 0 to +5. And nitric acid, nitrogen was +5 becomes NO2. So +5 becomes +4. So who's oxidized and who's reduced? Okay. So these are the reactions we have. Then next we have, people, a very important point to discuss, the Brown ring test. I'm sure in 11th standard everybody is done in college. Those who have performed the practicals properly, okay? Those who are just showing the test tube and say I got the color, not that way. The ones who have actually performed. Brown ring test was for the detection of nitrates. That's the Brown ring test. Now what is this test? Have an idea to it. It's for nitrates where it depends on the ability of ferrous to reduce nitrates to nitric oxide, which reacts with ferrous to form a brown colored complex. The test is carried by adding, now look at this part, have a look at the reaction, ferrous with nitrate and H+, where ferrous is oxidized to ferric and NO3, nitrogen is +5, it becomes NO when nitrogen is +2. So ferrous to ferric, +2 to +3, nitrate to nitric oxide. So nitrate, nitrogen is +5, nitric oxide, it becomes +2. Now this again combines with water and forms a coordinated compound. Well, look at that, FeH2O6 2+. So that is hexa aqua ion, Roman number 2. Okay, aqua is for water. Reacts with NO and it forms this brown colored complex. Fe, you have to know this well, it's important. FeH2O5 NO raised to 2+. Now the MCQ which is asked at JEE or NEET on this, listen carefully. FeH2O5 NO raised to 2+. What is the oxidation state of Fe in the complex? Anybody? Oxidation state of Fe in this complex. You can try. Okay. Normally people all say +2. Answer is not +2. Answer is +1. How? Water, neutral ligand, so no charge on water. NO is in the form of NO plus. Why plus? Nitrogen and oxygen. Who's more electronegative? Oxygen. So oxygen oxidation state -2. Nitrogen we know has got 5 electrons, but out of the 5, 8 minus 5. 3 are unpaired. So 2 bonds are formed. So 1 electron is extra with nitrogen. It loses that electron. That's why it becomes NO plus. Is clear? What exactly is this NO plus called? Nitrosonium ion. Alright, at organic when we do N double bond O is called the nitroso group. NO with respect to inorganic is called nitric oxide, and with respect to ligand NO plus, nitrosonium ion. I repeat, just N double bond O or a NO group organic wise, it's called a nitroso group. We'll be doing it in amines. It's a yellow oily liquid, nitroso group. Second, if it is just NO gas inorganic wise, then we call it as nothing but nitric oxide. And third, if we have NO plus, that's called a nitrosonium ion. It's a cationic ligand, alright, which can be used in complex. That's what you see. So if I take NO ka charge as +1, outside the charge is +2. So if I write it, Fe as X, water is 0, NO is +1, and the net charge is equal to +2. So 0 plus 1 is equal to +2. So Fe ka state is +1. It's a very important one. Alright, please mark this important and write it down and somewhere keep. Then brown ring complex, the oxidation state of Fe is +1. Now uses people mainly manufacture of ammonium nitrate. Ammonium nitrate, that's basically also in fertilizers as well as an explosive, what I told you. It's a detonating agent. Okay. And also in the preparation of all these are the detonating agents there: nitroglycerine, trinitrotoluene, TNT, the hand grenades, that's there. And also in pickling of steel. People, what is the meaning of this? It's a process. Pickling of steel is to clean that steel. We carry out a process of pickling. We clean it with a layer of nitric acid. So if there is any oxides on the surface, they can be removed out. For that part it is. So that's called, also it's etching of metals. That is basically giving a glossy look to it. And an oxidizer in rocket fuels. That's one. So this is all about nitrogen. The physical properties we spoke. The periodic functions. Then we spoke about over there it's different oxides, the compounds, that's ammonia, the preparation. Right now nitric acid, and after nitric acid the brown ring test over there and the uses. So this is one part of group 15. Still one more part to go, that will be phosphorus. Okay, we'll start with the phosphorus part. We all know phosphorus just below nitrogen. So nitrogen was atomic number 7, so 7 you add 8, so 7 plus 8 15, so that's phosphorus. Now phosphorus is there in many allotropic forms. People, allotropy we discussed, same chemical properties but different physical forms. That's what we call allotropy. Now there are 3 of them, 3 allotropes: white phosphorus, red phosphorus and black phosphorus. 3 allotropic forms. Now white phosphorus is a translucent white waxy solid. Now what is the meaning of this word translucent? Basically semi-transparent, matlab substances which will allow some light to pass through. That's called translucent. It is poisonous, insoluble in water, soluble in carbon disulfide, and it glows in dark, producing chemiluminescence. Now what is the meaning of the word chemiluminescence? Emission of light due to a chemical reaction. So when a chemical reaction takes place and there is emission of light, that's called chemiluminescence. Now this reaction important. It dissolves in NaOH in an inert atmosphere, giving pH3. That's what we call as phosphine. That's a poisonous gas. So look at this reaction well. Phosphorus P4 tetraatomic with NaOH and water forms phosphine, and it gives a byproduct sodium hypophosphite. Now when I say this word over there, what is the meaning of this word hypo? Hypo means it is in its highest oxidation state. Alright, that's why it's called hypo. Okay. Hypo means, that's what we call for per. Hypo means the lowest oxidation state. So if you calculate here phosphorus ka oxidation state, check carefully. Oxygen is -2 into 2, that's -4. sodium is +1, hydrogen is also +1 into 2, so +3. So phosphorus ka state is +1. So whenever you come across this word hypo, please make a note. Hypo means it is in its lowest oxidation state. Whenever you come across the word over there, per, like how we say no, perchloric acid, per means it is in the highest oxidation state. So in HClO4, perchloric acid, Cl was +7. That's the highest state. Third, we have pyro. Pyro means we have no pyrolysis, matlab only on heating. So when you have two molecules, is this clear, which will combine, is this clear, and combine and form one molecule by the loss of water, then that's what we'll call generally as pyro over there. Okay. And the word ortho is for the one which is the most common acid. Like for example, if you remember boric acid, we also call it as orthoboric acid because boric acid is the most common part of it. Okay, that's one. Same way, if you remember phosphoric acid, H3PO4, we also call it as orthophosphoric acid. Okay, that way. So ortho means for the most common one. All right. So this is one. Now people will talk about the different allotropes what we have. The white phosphorus, just understanding, please have a look at the diagram. White phosphorus, people, 4 atoms of phosphorus, each one forming 1, 2, 3 bonds, and the angle, look at that angle is 60 degrees. So it's called a tetraatomic structure. Okay, that's a strain on it. And it says it forms over there, look at that. Phosphorus combines with oxygen to give you P4O10. Once again, the structure of P4O10. Yeah, na P, OO on the two sides and down P. Okay, so you have a POP bond over there, throughout over there. So four phosphorus, everywhere one oxygen between. So POP, 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 POP. That way 4. At the corners, the 4 phosphorus, double bond O, double bond O, double bond O, double bond O, and the POP 2 bonds more over there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 6 POP bonds. There are 4 P double bond O bonds, and there is no PP bonds. So phosphorus burns over there to form P4O10. Then comes, people, the second one, that's red phosphorus. What we have, red phosphorus, that's obtained by heating. Just see the slide, please. White phosphorus at a temperature of 573 Kelvin. That's what we have in an inert atmosphere. And it says when red phosphorus is heated under pressure, it forms a series phases of black phosphorus. So look at that. Red phosphorus is obtained by heating. White phosphorus at 573 Kelvin. We have observed the structure, people, of red phosphorus. See on the slide, it is like a polymeric chain, where what has happened, just here please, see on the slide, in white phosphorus, this PP bond what we had is broken and a new PP bond is formed over here. So the PP bond in between is broken and a new PP bond is formed, and that gives a long extended polymeric chain. That's called red phosphorus. Okay, then it possesses luster, poisonous, all this part is all okay. It is just to read over there, that's fine. Last one, people, that's black phosphorus. That's thermodynamically the most stable form. So from MCQ point, out of white, red and black, black is thermodynamically the most stable form of phosphorus. It's in 2 forms. That's an alpha black and a beta black phosphorus we have. Alpha is formed when it is heated at a temperature of 803 Kelvin, and beta is formed when you heat white phosphorus at 473 Kelvin. Okay, that's one. Now if you observe, just see this table here, the structures I've given of alpha and beta. It says it forms like corrugated sheets. Now the question comes when I'm talking about this word corrugated, what is this, people? If you observe, they are just like parallel rows. Have a look at the diagram, people, there. They are basically parallel rows of folds. Is this clear? That looks like a series of waves. Okay, like in a form of a waves over there when seen from one of the edges. That's the look of it. So in the form of a waves over there when seen from the edges part. That's one. So that is one. That's about black phosphorus. Then next we have, people, one of the compounds of phosphorus, that's phosphine. We all know, a deadly poisonous gas. How is it formed? It is formed by the action of calcium phosphide with water. Phosphide, phosphorus, we write it as P raised to 3 minus. That's called phosphide. So look at that. Calcium phosphide, Ca3P2 with water gives you calcium hydroxide, and it gives phosphine gas. And same calcium phosphide also with HCl will give calcium chloride and phosphine gas. That is one. Then second, phosphine, what we just saw on the previous page, the preparation part, people. So in the preparation part, if you remember, we spoke about this, where we said, okay, phosphorus with NaOH and water gives phosphine plus sodium hypophosphate. I told you hypo means the lowest oxidation state. So where phosphorus is +1. It is when it says when it is pure phosphine, it's inflammable, but becomes flammable due to the presence of P2H4 or P4. Please write over there what is P2H4. Diphosphane, matlab P bond, P single bond P, and on both the sides 3,3H on the phosphorus. So phosphorus is forming mainly 4 bonds. That's the way. And to purify from its impurities, it is absorbed in HI to form phosphonium iodide. So it combines over there, which on treating with KOH gives off phosphine. So what we do, phosphonium iodide, we react with water, with KOH, sorry, it forms Ki and PH4i. Phosphonium iodide is converted to phosphine. Now phosphine, that is a rotten egg smell over there. It explodes on contacting with oxidizing agents like nitric acid, chlorine or bromine. Then next it says over there, when absorbed with copper sulfate or mercuric chloride, it forms corresponding phosphides. Matlab, phosphine forms its respective salts. I told you what's phosphide. Phosphorus state is -3. So look at that. Copper sulfate becomes cupric phosphide, and pH3 over there is converted to its phosphide. And same way HgCl2 is mercuric chloride. Remember, if it was mercurous, it was Hg2Cl2. This is HgCl2. So only mercuric chloride with phosphine will give us Hg3P2. That's nothing but mercuric phosphide. So you are converting phosphine to its phosphide, and it is weakly basic. In fact, if you see down the group, we discussed this in the period when nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth and moscovium. Down the group, the basic character decreases. So ammonia is most basic, then comes phosphorus. So phosphine is weakly basic, and it gives its compound, that is PH4Br. That's phosphonium bromide. That's one. So that's about phosphine, people. Next we have over here, people, the uses part, a very important use. You can expect it as one of an important question. Combustion of phosphine is technically used in Holmes signals. Now let me be very clear to you. You might have heard about this. What is Holmes signal? All these ships and all, when they are coming near to any of the coastal areas, generally we all have a lighthouse, right? What is the function of this lighthouse? It's a signal. It gives a signal. So what they do, Holmes signal is a signal given to the ships not to come close. If there are rocks, then there's a probability those ships will get stuck over there. So to prevent that, there's a reaction which is carried out, and that signal is called Holmes signal. What is that? I've given this separately to you. Holmes signal, please see on the people, please see this and mark this important, okay? It helps ships to know the position of rocks in the sea over there. Now, phosphine and acetylene. Phosphine we know, that's PH3. Acetylene we all know, CH triple bond CH. It's prepared by adding water to a mixture of calcium carbide and calcium phosphide. Remember calcium carbide, no? Preparation of acetylene. So this is the same reaction. Calcium carbide with water gives calcium hydroxide and it liberates acetylene gas. And calcium phosphide with water gives calcium hydroxide and it gives phosphine. So basically both the gases are, you take a mixture of calcium carbide, calcium phosphide, keep it together, add water, and we carry out over there nothing but by adding water. And what happens, both will give its gas. Calcium carbide will give acetylene, calcium phosphide will give phosphine. Now what happens, phosphine becomes inflammable when it comes in contact with air and it lights up with acetylene. So that's basically like a signal. So it's like a light what happens over there when the reaction takes place. So that's a signal to the ships not to come nearer, as there are rocks and there's a probability the ship may get stuck. So two reactions important: calcium carbide with water, acetylene; calcium phosphide with water, phosphine. Both when they come in contact, is this clear? What happens over there? It lights up. That's what it says. Phosphine becomes inflammable when it comes in contact with air and lights up acetylene. So if it lights up acetylene, it's like a glow over there. And this is also used in smoke screens. Okay. Now people, two questions to discuss over there. Just observe this. In what way it can be proved that phosphine is basic in nature? People, we right now discussed on the previous page. It's weakly basic. So it combines with, if it's weakly basic, it will combine with an acid to form its add-on compound. So phosphine plus HI gives us phosphonium iodide. So that confirms it is basic. Okay. Because basic compounds will react with acid to form its respective salts. So here it says due to lone pair on phosphorus, PH3 is acting as a Lewis base. Phosphorus we all know 3s2 3p3, so 3s2 one lone pair, and over there 3p3, so it will form 3 unpaired electrons over there. So because of the presence of the lone pair is donated, so it forms PH4 plus and I minus. That's one. Second people a question, bond angle in PH4 plus is higher than that of PH3. Why? People, simple. PH3 structure is similar to ammonia. Phosphorus has 3s2 3p3, so one lone pair of 3s2, H3 ke 3 bonds. So lone pair and 3 bonds. Like sp3, distorted tetrahedral pyramidal shape. PH4 plus similar to NH4 plus. How nitrogen donates a lone pair? Phosphorus donates a lone pair. So if it donates a lone pair, in PH4 plus now, it's a regular tetrahedral. So the angle would be 109 degrees 28 minutes. Whereas in PH3, it will be little bit similar to ammonia, around 107 degrees. So PH4 plus bond angle is more because the lone pair is donated. And second, what happens when white phosphorus is heated with white phosphorus is heated with conc NaOH in an inert atmosphere of carbon dioxide? People, the same reaction what we did on the previous page. Phosphorus combines with NaOH and water to form phosphine and give sodium hypophosphite. So that's the reaction, preparation of phosphine. That's the reaction. Then now people will be talking about phosphorus halides. This I will start in the next video with you, what I start, and we will be talking about its oxy acids. All right. Okay. Thank you everyone. Thank you.